Hey guys, welcome back to my Lady Boss YouTube channel. So today I really wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to give you my life story, my background, and just all the struggles that I've really been through in my past. And the only reason why I wanted to do that today was because I really want you to get the idea and the reasoning why I started my YouTube channel, and then also more in detail about who and why I am the person that I am today. So before I get started into this video, please feel free to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It means the world to me. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. Before I start giving you some scenarios and situations and things that I've really been through, I do want to put it out there that it's not going to be like my other videos where they're more upbeat and just very positive. This one's going to be mainly focused on the negatives and the struggles that I've really been through, only because that's where you'll really get the sense and the feel of how it shaped me as a person today. But trust me and believe me, my life wasn't always the negative side of things. I did have, happy parts and situations in my life as well too. But that's why I just wanted to put that out there before I give you my very first scenario. The first scenario that I would like to give you is when I was in elementary school to middle school. So that was probably around when I was like 6 to age 13. So there were two sides to me within this time frame. So the very first one, I was spoiled, I was a brat, I always knew how to get my way with my parents. I would throw hissy fits. I was just that spoiled brat princess that always needed to get her way. But then on the other side of the spectrum, I was a completely different person when it came to school and my friends. So I was really bullied badly when I was growing up in school. So I got made fun of all the time for the way that I dressed or did my hair, and just all the little things that kids that age would just make fun of you for. And I just remember I went to the principal's office, and it just wasn't a very good point in my life when I was at a very young age. And I also remember too that I really wanted to try to stand up to these girls who were bullying me, and I just couldn't. I was so scared, I had no voice, and I really couldn't stand up for myself. And then I also remember that the group of friends that I did have, I was more of a follower, and I was still always trying to fit in. And it just didn't work, only because the friend that was the leader of the group, she would always call the shots. We were just the followers, and I always felt like a second choice. Now let's fast forward to high school. So I was about the ages between 14 to 18. And to be honest, I was just an average kid. I wasn't popular in high school, and I was just basic and average. And I felt like that created me to feel like I needed to fit in more, that I needed to have and portray this perfect life, that it really wasn't actually true. And that led me down the road to have more friends that were quantity versus quality. So that created such a huge void for me, only because I felt like I had no real true friends. I felt like they only knew me on the surface. I felt like I couldn't really open up to them. I didn't really have a best friend at this point in time. And I just remember I just felt so alone. And I remember I would cry myself literally to sleep every single night, because I was so lonely and I just didn't know what to do, couldn't confide in anyone, and that's just how it was for a long period of time. And so not too long after that, I found out that my parents were going through a separation. And the way I found out was more so on the shocking end. So I was really involved with my church youth group at the time, and I was a counselor, and we would go away on these weekend-long trips. And so when I actually came back from one of those trips, I came back to my dad telling me that my mom and sister are no longer living here and they had left. And at this time, when I'm just coming home and walking into this and not even knowing, my mom didn't tell me. I had to hear this when I just walked in through my front door, and I was so confused. And my dad told me that they're separating, that they're not going to be together. My mom and my sister are not going to live with us anymore. And I just broke down, to be honest. My dad told me all the horrible things that had happened and the horrible fight that my parents got into, and it made me really resent my mom, just because she didn't even have the courage to tell me or call me or anything like that. I had to find out when I literally got home. So shortly after that, maybe a day or two after that, I had spoken to my mom, and my mom had told me a complete different story and a complete different side to what my dad had told me about what had happened that night that they had separated and that my mom and sister had moved out. I was so confused at this point. I was angry. I was just a mix of emotions, only because I couldn't understand what was going on. I became more of the mediator between my parents because, first of all, they hated each other, they didn't want to talk to each other, they didn't want to see each other, and so they resorted to have any kind of conversation through me. And I just ended up resenting both of my parents. Now let's fast forward to college. So I was about probably around 18 to 24. So I went to community college, and at this point in time in my life, because I was still living at home, I just wanted to get out. I wanted to leave, I wanted to be on my own, I wanted to just get away from all the toxic situations that I have been going through lately. And so that's why the moment that I was able to transfer, I wanted to go to San Diego State. On the other hand, my dad wanted me to go to Cal State Long Beach because it was close to home. And with just everything that was going on, I was like, no, I want to get away from home. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be around anybody that I've been around for my entire life, pretty much. I want to be on my own and by myself. So when I did have that mentality and was able to start applying and getting accepted, I actually got into San Diego State. So because I got into San Diego State, I ended up going behind my dad's back and I submitted my tuition, and there was nothing he could do about it from there. Obviously he found out, and he just told me that he felt so betrayed that I went behind his back, and it just created one of the worst fights and arguments that I can remember that we've ever had in our lives. Like, we really hit rock bottom at this point, and I just remember saying the most hurtful, disgusting things to him about how I never wanted to be like him, how his life was so sad, and that I just hated him and wanted to get away and never see him again. And it was just to the point where I was so frustrated with everything going on, I said anything that I wanted to say. So finally, when I was able to transfer to San Diego State, I still, didn't have a good relationship with my parents. I probably didn't speak to them probably for 3 years. And even with that being said, I also had a boyfriend at the time, and I had, made new friends and all of that. But you do not understand how bad my mentality was going into college, even though I was trying to, revamp my whole mentality with everything. I had so much dependence on my friends and my current boyfriend at that time because of the relationship with my parents. Because I didn't speak to them for 3 years that I was there, I just was so dependent on them. My happiness was in their hand, and it was taken away at any point in time something went wrong. Like, my emotions were everywhere. Like, I'd have the highest of highs, I've had the lowest of lows. And it was just a freaking roller coaster. It was so bad because I didn't have my parents to confide in or talk to, so I felt really alone. So I kind of dragged that over to my current boyfriend at the time. And throughout the whole time, I had multiple boyfriends throughout college, and I just wasn't treated very well. They took me for granted. They talked to other girls behind my back, or would text them or hang out with them, and they just really didn't appreciate the person who I was. So not only was I not having a speaking relationship with my parents, the people who I depended on and leaned on, they weren't there for me either. And so I really did hit a very, very, very low point in my life when I was in college. It was worse than when I was in high school. I haven't really told many people this, but I actually went to ended up winding myself into a mental institute. It was probably the scariest thing I've ever been to. It was, I'm not going to go into details, but that's where I ended up, and I hit very, very dark places and low points at this point in time in my life. Now let's get to the present moment and where I am today. So I know I just gave you some scenarios about my childhood and all the situations that I've been through, and at that point in time, I really did feel like I hit rock bottom and that there was no light at the end of the tunnel for me. But I had to have those certain situations impact my life that way in order for me to make this change. I needed to go through those hardships, I needed to go through those struggles, I needed to go through everything that could have brought me down in order for me to get to this point today, because I needed to use that little ounce of strength that I had left to make this positive change and to start this YouTube channel to impact others in a positive way and to get my life rolling in this direction that I never thought it was going to go in before. and the fact that like I used to be ashamed of my past. I used to never really talk about it, and now I'm really proud of it, because without those struggles, without my past, I just wouldn't even know who I would have been today. And that's the great beauty of it. I know that other people, it's nothing to ever compare your past to another person's past. And I know, some of my friends where they've been adopted, grew up in with teen parents. Some of them grew up homeless. Like, I've had so many friends who've had a lot tougher situations than me, but it's the fact that everybody has a past, and you have the choice to create a new future from it. And that's exactly what I chose to do. It definitely took many, many years to figure myself out, to realize why I had to go through these struggles, and to where it needed to lead me to today. But that's why all those scenarios that I gave you had such an impact on who I am right now and in the present moment. Like my childhood self of being in elementary school to middle school, it taught me how to be a leader now, and it taught me how to stand up for myself. And then my high school self really taught me to appreciate my family, to not try to fake my way through life, and to always be proud of where I am and not to try to over-impress people. And then my college self really did impact me and has led me throughout the rest of who I am today, where it taught me my own self-worth. It taught me how to be independent, show my confidence, and the one really important thing that has carried me along the way is that I know deep down inside, no matter what, if I set my mind to something, I know I will achieve it. I know I will set myself up for this success, and there's nothing that can ever stop me or get in my way. And that is just so powerful to me now, and I just see it, and that's why I don't believe anybody should ever be ashamed of their past. You need to own it and just run with it. I hope that you enjoyed this video and you got a little bit more sense of who I am as a person just based off my past stories and scenarios. I am really just so grateful I was able to share that with everybody, and it's just to get a better understanding and to really prove that you can learn from your past, you can make positive changes going forward as long as you're able and willing to change and do something different with your life. It's never too late. You can still do it now if you haven't been able to realize it, but never use your past as something to hinder you. Never let it hold you back. Never let it just make a negative impact on your life. Do it so it can do something positive and for your future self that you'll be so grateful and thankful for and feel really rewarding at the end of the day. So other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this. Like I said, I do post videos every Thursday. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.